Good evening, everyone. Right, that is a clue as to what I'm going to be doing this evening. I stayed with friends last week and had a Gousto meal with them, which was lovely. And then the next day we prepared one between us, and I was impressed with how easy it is. Now, I have a busy life with the dogs, shift work, etc. And I don't always know what to cook. And we all know that buying food for one isn't always easy. You can't buy the portions you want. Vegetables are often pre-packaged, so you end up buying too much, and then it's easy to eat the leftovers. So I thought this might be quite a good idea. So I'm going to open the box and let's see what's in it. I will say I'm quite impressed. It was delivered to my place of safety exactly as asked, which was excellent. I've come home and there it was waiting for me. Only thing is, it's been delivered in the afternoon. I prefer to eat my main meal at lunchtime, so it means I'm ending up cooking quite late this evening, but that's fine, as I know it will only be once a week. So, it all looks quite exciting, doesn't it? It's got a bag, there are sort of pouches and things. Free-range egg. Everything is packed, ready to use. And then in here, we've got all the recipe cards. So, learning from my friends, I think my best bet is to look through and see use by dates and figure out what I need to use first. So you can see this week I've gone for garlic mashed top lamb meatloaf, gochujang beef udon noodles, smoky chipotle mac and cheese, sesame pork and egg fried rice, and chicken fajitas. So first things first, unpack everything and figure out what needs to go in the fridge. Okay, so this is a freeze bag, and that has kept it properly cold. So I've got frozen peas, meat, and some of this will go in the freezer for later in the week. You can see packed into nice small packs for one person. What I'm going to be intrigued about is cost-wise, they're on a very, very good deal for trying for the first 2 months. Will it cost me any more cooking daily? Because I'm used to cooking 2 or 3 meals at a time. So this is going to be quite interesting to see how that works out. Another freezer bag. So you can see it's packaged really well. I think it's time to get everything out and have a proper look at it. Right, we've got nice fresh looking ingredients. Everything portioned up very nicely. Tomatoes slightly on the soft side. Everything else in really good condition. I will say you've got quite a big box to dispose of. I'm fine, I've got a garage to put it in until recycling next week. So do just bear that in mind. Look at the meats. It is the chicken that's going to need using first. So that tells me what meal I'm having today. And that will be chicken fajitas with tomato salsa. So I think I'll get all the ingredients for that out to one side and pop everything away in the fridge, freezer and cupboard. Finding the ingredients was lovely and easy. For each ingredient, we've also got the amount. Now it gives the amount for 2 people. Obviously I've ordered for 1, so I assume it is altered. Let's have a little look. So what have we got there? We've got chicken breast strips, 250 grams. And sure enough, I've got 125 grams. So you've obviously just got to halve that column there. Where I've had 2 of an ingredient or even 3, such as green peppers and the onions, for other recipes, I've picked out obviously the one that needed using first. So we've got a slightly squidgy onion, and our lucky tomato is going to get used, which is great. Nicely at the bottom of the card there, it's going to tell me it's going to be 542 calorie meal with all the information about it. So when I'm putting that on my app later to record what I'm eating, that'll be nice and easy. So I think we've got everything out. We're ready to cook. It tells me that this is going to take 25 to 35 minutes. So let's see how it goes. I've popped everything in the kitchen and I'm just reading through the instructions. Sorry about the dogs chewing on hooves. So, tells us nicely what to do and in what orders. And what I'm reading ahead for is to know what I'm going to need. So I need a large bowl. Let's pop these ingredients in. It tells me I need some salt and things ahead of time. Large wide-based pan. So I need a large bowl, a large pan, obviously chopping knife and board, and a plate. Okay, so that's really not that much. So just the pan and the bowl. Excellent, I'll get those out and we'll get going. One of the reasons it's worth reading ahead, for example, is with this one, it tells me to chop all these ingredients together up. And then later on, next step is to combine them in a bowl. So I might as well chop them and put them straight in the bowl. Saves making anything else messy. This onion's absolutely fine, but I will say I'm glad I'm using it today and not on Friday. It would be decidedly squidgy by then. There are a few store-cupboard ingredients that you need, but you can read those ahead of time so you know what you've got, and that's it. That's my fajita mix, ready to have a good mix up. So while the fajita mix is sizzling away, I've made up the smoky yoghurt with rest of paprika powder and the yoghurt, and a salsa of tomato and remaining onion. So that was 2 more bowls I hadn't got out ready, but that's not a problem. Now I have got loads of lettuce, and I've looked back through the recipe and it's 1 lettuce for 2 people as well. So that's just worth being aware of. I probably didn't need to shred that much. But yeah, it smells lovely and it's looking good. Something doesn't seem quite right here. I've just put the tortillas on the plate to microwave. There are 6 of them. So I've gone back through my recipe cards. I don't need tortillas for anything else during the week. And 6 seems pretty excessive. It won't go round for that amount. And that would be far too high calorie wise. So I'm not quite sure on the amounts. I don't think they're quite right. Yeah, looking at the recipe card, you'd get 6 tortillas for 2 of you. So the amounts aren't quite stacking up. Okay, I've warmed the tortillas, fajita mix is done. Let's start putting it all together. Okay, they look absolutely amazing, smell brilliant, slightly overstuffed. But let's give them a taste and see how they taste. Right, they taste brilliant. Loads of flavour. Not easy to eat. I think I've probably overdone the lettuce, mainly because I hate waste. So we'll have to talk about that in a minute. Meanwhile, I'm going to get on and enjoy these. Okay, there's no doubt about it, that was a really tasty meal. Took about right time to prepare and cook, as it said it would. But from the point of view of what I'm trying to achieve, which is less wastage for one person on their own. Tasty, easy meal, yes. Less wastage, I'm not convinced. So the lettuce will unfortunately get thrown away because that will be no good even by tomorrow. Tortillas I'll rewrap and hopefully use them in the week. But because I've got these meals coming, they're not in my calories, I hadn't planned to use them. Washing up. There's a fair bit of washing up, isn't there? So I don't know. That is the first meal of the week. Enjoyed it, but I'm really not sure it's achieving what I want. So I'll see you all tomorrow and we'll try the second meal. Well, good afternoon everyone. Right, this is Tuesday, day 2 of Gousto. And I've gone for the most time consuming dish of the week today. In all honesty, if I'd looked at it when I was ordering for the time, I might not have chosen it, but it looks really nice. So we've got garlic mashed top lamb meatloaf with peas and onion gravy. I've got the oven preheating. I've got my dishes sort of starting to get ready. All the ingredients out. Let's go. Okay, I'm going to go slightly rogue, and rather than shaping my meat into a meatloaf, I'm going to put it in a meatloaf tin. Again, all the ingredients lovely and fresh. Quite a lot of extras for today. Milk, butter, pepper, salt. So again, something to keep an eye on. A bit like yesterday, again, I've got 1 brown onion and they use 1 brown onion for 2 people. So where I've put half an onion in there and saved half for later, it's too much. So I'm going to fish a bit out. This is a little bit frustrating because, as I said, the whole point of this for me is to have less waste. Okay, I've got the potatoes boiling with the garlic for the mash. The meatloaf's looking good. Onions just starting to caramelise for the gravy. All smelling good. Yeah, nice. Okay, I've improvised slightly as I didn't have any flour. So this is the onion marmalade and the rest of beef stock. That's the caramelised onions, and I've just added a bit of gravy granules to thicken as I don't have the flour. That gravy smells absolutely amazing. I've got to say that's come out really well. Looks and smells great. Time to go and taste. Right, I've got to say that tastes absolutely amazing. Meatloaf's lovely and moist. That gravy is just so much flavour in it with those caramelised onions and the onion jam. Yep, for taste, decent sized portion. I can't fault that at all. I'm going to go and enjoy my dinner. That was incredibly tasty. Really enjoyed it. We've still got a lot of washing up to do though. Okay, I'll see you all tomorrow and we'll give the next recipe a go. Good afternoon everyone. Right, day 3. I've got a long day, a lot going on today, so I've gone for one of the quickest recipes. So we've got sesame pork and egg fried rice. Again, I've got all the ingredients out in front of me. Let's get cooking. This is cooking really nicely, smells wonderful, but I'm looking at it thinking there's a lot there, and there is a lot there. This is the trouble again. They haven't got quantities for one person. So I'm looking back, and that whole pouch of rice is the same for 2 people. Sorry, please excuse the dog coming in. Same with carrots, it's a whole carrot. This isn't really working. They're down. What they're doing is half the amount of meat, but not everything else. So this is basically 2 meals here, or 1.5 meals. Looks and smells amazing, but for what I wanted to achieve, proportion controlled way of eating with no waste, it's really not happening. Again, the instructions are lovely and clear. All of that I'm really impressed with. It is just, for me, whether this is actually going to work for one person or not. Right, you can see I've served up a generous portion. There's still some getting left in the pan. Well, pretty much. I'll chuck some garnish on. Let's go try it. Okay, proof is in for tasting. Like the other meals, tastes absolutely great. Could possibly do with a little bit more flavour for me actually. And I think where we've got sort of half the meat quantity to the amount of rice and carrots and things, could just do with a bit more flavour. So the dish itself is excellent. The only query I've got again is the quantities. Okay guys, I'm going to enjoy this. And I'll catch up again tomorrow. Good afternoon everyone. Right, recipe 4, but we're actually day 5. So the last recipe I had was the rice dish, which was absolutely lovely, but the quantities were wrong and it left me with a lot of it. What it didn't leave me with was a lot of washing up, so that was much appreciated. But it meant I had the second half of it, or a bit less than half of it, yesterday. I made a mushroom curry with Mayflower curry sauce, really easy and quick to go with the rest of that rice dish. So that used that up really nicely, but it means I'm a day behind with my meals. So today we've got the smoky chipotle mac and cheese. This looks to take 25 to 35 minutes. I've got the oven on already. Ingredients: pepper's looking a little bit past it, and admittedly did yesterday, but we'll be fine with that. Onion's fine and everything else looks good. So let's get going. Just gone to cut my pepper up and realised I've got a red and a green. That's fine. But looking at tomorrow's recipe, so the last one of the week, I don't need a pepper at all. So what I'm going to do is use the best bits from both peppers. It does mean a bit of waste, but again, they just haven't quite got those quantities right for one person. I may have a little bit too much onion, because again, it was 1 onion for 2. But it seemed silly to waste it. We've got that cooking up there nicely with the peppers, macaroni in the pot, and I'm just about to put together some of the spices. Something that's been noticeable throughout is the amount of salt used in these recipes. Now it just might be because I'm not used to cooking with salt. I don't use a lot in anything I make, to be honest. But this recipe alone, for one person, there are 3 teaspoons of salt. And for me, that's quite a lot. I think I'm getting a bit rebellious as the week's gone on. I am not grating that amount of cheese when it is being added into the dish, not even sort of put on top. So no, I will cut that finely. Not getting a grater dirty. I should have realised by now that I should have used half the stock. So it's going to be a little bit moist, but there we go. That is my mac and cheese. I'm going to pop breadcrumbs on, and that goes in the oven. Okay, this has taken longer to prepare and cook than the suggested time, which up until now has been pretty accurate in fairness, but it looks and smells amazing. So I'm going to take it through to the other room and try it. Okay, not a mac and cheese as I'd be thinking of. It's a bit of a shame I've made a mistake with the extra stock, but that has been absorbed pretty well by the breadcrumbs and the pasta, and I've got to say it does taste really, really nice. I should have chopped the peppers up finer, knowing that they're not my favourite thing, but yeah, this is really tasty. Another nice meal. Right, that was very tasty. Was it tasty enough to justify that amount of washing up for one meal? I'm not sure. But yeah, really enjoyed it. So tomorrow we've got the last meal to look at. Take care and I'll see you all tomorrow. Good morning everyone. Right, last recipe of the week from my week of Gousto meals. And we have got Gochujang beef udon noodles, which looks really, really nice. So I've got all my ingredients out, but this is where the proportions have gone wrong. I've got no soy sauce left. Thankfully I've got some in the cupboard. And I have an extra garlic clove and sesame seeds. So this is where they just haven't matched up with the recipes through the week, because all along I've found that they don't know whether they're doing the recipe for 2 people or 1, and I'm getting a mix of amounts of ingredients. But we won't worry about that for now. Let's get cooking. I'm going to have this for sort of a brunch. Well, it'll be an early lunch as I'm out for the rest of the day. So let's get going. Quite interesting. The udon noodles, the packet they're in, says serves 2, and that's 200 grams. Yet this recipe today, 200 grams only serves 1 person. I think the quantities are quite generous, which is good, but it doesn't match up with the calories that they're showing for each recipe. So it's just something worth bearing in mind. Because the amount of meat for 1 person is so small, I'd only just browned it, but it will go overcooked if I actually let the carrots get slightly softened as they should. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have even browned it. Put the carrots in first. Again, just keeping an eye on amounts. 120 grams of spinach for 2 or for 3 people. I've got 80 grams here, which certainly isn't half of 120. So I'm going to put most of it in. Okay, I've got a little bit of extra sauce in there because it needed that amount of boiling water to dissolve all the ingredients, and I quite like it with a bit of extra sauce, that's no problem. I did add the extra spinach because it does really wilt down to nothing, doesn't it? But that's looking and smelling really good, so let's get served up. Now I've added the extra sesame seeds that I had left over from earlier in the week because I do like sesame seeds and don't like waste. This tastes excellent. It really does. It's probably my favourite meal of the week, to be honest, and one of the simplest, least time consuming. So I'm going to get on and enjoy it. So there we go. That's my week over. Right, as you can see, even for that simple meal, still a fair bit of washing up. I think I'm going to go outside and reflect a little and let's have a think about whether this week worked for me or not. Okay, it's too nice a day to sit inside. So, did this week work for me? I ordered Gousto meals for 1 person for the week in meals that I found interesting, ones that I wouldn't necessarily cook myself. Have I enjoyed the meals? Yes. I've got to say, all meals have been really tasty. That is excellent. Would I do it again? No, and I've actually cancelled next week's order. I can see how for my friends, for 2 of them, the proportions were correct. Using that much sort of energy in cooking for 2 people was fine. For me on my own, the quantities don't always work out right. Well, they didn't work out a lot of the time. So that's extra work, having to look ahead to see what the next recipes need, whether I've got too much, too little of something. And it did ruin one of the meals, having that much rice in it when I hadn't noticed the discrepancy. So that was a little bit frustrating. The energy usage. Oh, come on, I know I've come from a career where I didn't earn a lot and I'm used to being conservative, but for me to have the oven on, 2 pots on the hob, the microwave and the kettle for 1 meal, no, I just can't do that. That's expensive. I'm used to batch cooking, so using that much electricity, but for 6 meals, and putting some in the freezer. Or cooking, even just cooking 2 meals, and having one the next day, or simple meals. So yeah, I couldn't get my head around that. It's got to be a very expensive way of cooking. I was also considering these meals for my grandma, who's a very, very good cook, but sometimes wants some different ideas. And I will say, it does give you good ideas. Seeing which spices and things are used. Yeah, I'm going to use some of that. That's brilliant. For grandma, though, it would be far too much washing up. She doesn't want to make that much extra. And some packets were hard to open, which you've got to bear in mind if you're looking at this for older people. A pair of scissors did the job, but that's not always ideal. There was also a lack of vegetables. If I were using those meals regularly, I'd be having to cook extra vegetables because there just wasn't enough. Some of that is the dishes I chose, yes, but actually none of those dishes really had much in. So yeah, if I've then got to add extra vegetables on top, that's no good. So I think for me, this isn't the answer. For people living either in 2, 3, 4 groups of people, so you're cooking with correct quantities, yes, definitely. if you can't get to the shops regularly, yeah, real benefit having it delivered. I can really see that if you've run out of ideas of things to cook, or you don't actually particularly cook. I can see this being of real benefit to some people, just not to me. The company really needs to sort out these portions, for one, because at the moment it doesn't work. So my conclusion for the week, Gousto meals. They do as they say, they are very tasty. If you need ideas for things to cook, excellent. Ingredients were good, they were fresh. I just had to watch that I used the ingredients in an order, but I didn't leave some veg till the end of the week. The meals I chose had different cooking times, so that did fit in with my lifestyle. On the days I had more time, I could cook something more time consuming. I can see how they really would work for some, but for me, they're not the answer. They're not the portion sizes that I wanted, and too much waste. I'm afraid there's a lot of packaging, so that is something you have to bear in mind. So there we go, everyone. Thank you very much for following us on our Gousto week. Take care, and we'll see you all soon.